Good evening, welcome to the first episode of Football Bloody Hell. Tonight I've got Carl Levy on with me and Paul Craig. How are we doing, boys?
We're good, thank you very much.
Good odds, man. Thanks for getting on.
Yeah.
No problem, man. No problem at all. So, obviously it's going to be a football podcast. Name comes from the Sir Alex Ferguson quote from the 1999 Champions League final. Today we're going to discuss the Premier League, see where we go with that. The title race a bit, Liverpool's downfall, and the Chelsea management change, and then we'll go into the Scottish football. Rangers running away with the league, Celtic fall apart, and come on to the Betfred Cup final coming up in Livingston's unbeaten run just coming to an end. We'll go through the Championship Hearts seem to be running away with that themselves, and we'll just crack on for there. And if we've got time at the end, I don't know if I said to you before, what's your favourite football match you've been to or watched on TV? I think we can get a couple of good stories for that, because we'll all have different things, we all support different clubs. So, starting off, Chelsea sacking Frank Lampard a couple of weeks ago and bringing in Thomas Tuchel. And he's had, 3 wins in a row, starting off with. All right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't know what you think, but I thought the sacking was a bit harsh for Lampard. It was a bit early and...
Yeah, I would agree. It was a bit harsh, but was he the right man? Probably at this time with Chelsea, probably not. And this is the thing has been talked about quite a lot. You know, was it too early for Frank Lampard to take the Chelsea job after being one season at Derby? Probably yes. But was he the right man for Chelsea during the transfer ban? Yes, he was, because they needed to try to play the young players that he took when he took Derby, such as Mason Mount and Fika Tomori. You know, they were very good. You see how they're good in Championship, how they've done well with Chelsea last season. And I think with the pressure of spending £220 million, all the signings bar Ben Chilwell were not Frank Lampard signings. Only Ben Chilwell was Frank Lampard signings that he liked. The rest was all about the board of £220 million. And I think with the tactics as well of the youngsters that he played last season, I think some of them just, you know, they didn't play much up to lead up to Lampard sacking. So with that one, there was a bit of criticism, but the form was really bad for Chelsea. You know, it took them time when they got the new players. Kai Havertz and Timo Werner have not been the price tag as if we thought it was. So there's a bit of an issue with that one. I think, you know, bringing Thomas Tuchel in, who just got sacked from PSG 2 weeks before Frank Lampard's sacking, you can see why, you know, there's been some issues, and Lampard didn't even get to say goodbye to his Chelsea place. He got told he was going to sack, and he just had to go. So yeah, it's a mixture. You know, yes, it was harsh, but it's probably right in a way. But we'll see what happens from there. I don't think he'll get a top Premier League job in the near future.
Yeah,
pretty much agree with you, Carl, to be honest. However, I'm a big believer in giving people time, not just in terms of football, just generally in life. It's his first job in the Premier League at his beloved Chelsea, of course, and of course the folklore that's followed him on basically his journey right through football. Obviously, started off at West Ham, but then his time at Chelsea. When you mention Frank Lampard, you instantly think Mr. Chelsea, not just John Terry and characters like themselves, but Frank Lampard, extraordinary player, international level, jumped into management, did really well with Derby. Maybe a heart over head kind of decision at first. Obviously, the transfer embargo as well. Basically didn't have a choice, or much of a choice, but with Frank Lampard stepping in, I felt if he was given time, he would build on experience. You never know what the future holds, but they've made the decision. They've brought in Thomas Tuchel, or however you pronounce his name. Obviously, with Mainz, what Jurgen Klopp did as well. Really successful there. went from Mainz into Borussia Dortmund, a massive club on all levels. PSG, and we know what happened there with PSG as well, with the whole racism farce, and not just in football, but as we all agree here, in life in general, it's not necessary, it's not needed, it's just it's not welcomed, and it shouldn't be, and unfortunately in some aspects of life it is, but no. But yeah, on the main point, Frank Lampard didn't have enough time at all. Didn't give, and the treatment of being sacked immediately, and as you say, didn't get to say bye to his players. It's a tough one. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that, Paul, completely. But one thing I did find out, so when Lampard signed that 3-year contract with Chelsea, the Athletic reported that it was not a 3-year contract; it was a 1-year deal, and plus another extension after the end of the last season, which was very surprising because I did feel in a way it wasn't free because I felt like it was a 1 year plus one option just in case. So his contract would have been up by the end of the summer if he was still in charge. So Chelsea was in a situation that they could easily pay him off. And, and like I said, I think those 5 games winning defeat, including lose to Man City 3-1, you knew it was coming anyway because, like I said, they're just so behind and they started so well and they just drifted apart after beating Leeds 3-1 in early December. So, you know what? You're right, it was harsh, but this is what Chelsea does. This is what Roman Abramovich has been doing since over a decade and a half, since he owned Chelsea since 2004.
Yeah. Not only Chelsea, in my personal opinion, you won't obviously know this because we've only just met tonight for the first time, lovely man. But English football, in my opinion, like the Premiership or Premier League, of course, as it's titled, in my opinion, is just so corporate now of every aspect. It's losing the passion, in my opinion. Obviously, the coronavirus aspect of it's definitely not helped. No fans in the stadiums. It's how do I put it? It's very
corporate, isn't it?
Corporate, money orientated.
Yeah.
The W. I know football's a business, and it's a winning role that you're in when you're a manager. You're not expected to do anything else other than win, and anything you do on top of that is a bonus. But I still think Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
And as you say, his contract was running up in the summer. Even if that was the case, it was running up in the summer. Why not just give him to the summer, then bring in somebody fresh with their own team, make their own transfers when the embargo eventually, of course, is lifted. They can have a run at it themselves from their own kind of standpoint as well. That's something I really should have mentioned prior. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. And you're right. But one thing I will say, I think Thomas Tuchel was going to wait till the summer. That was to find out. For there was talks of bringing Avram Grant as the interim manager, but that was never going to be happening. Especially when he last run, he did get to Champions League final in 2007-8, I think second. But to quite honestly, was he the right man? Probably, maybe not. And I think if Lampard was still there, he would have had a bit of cover at his side to help him with it. But Thomas Tuchel decided to come in and give it, and then Chelsea gave him an 18-month deal to see how this is going to go, how this is going to pan out. So yeah.
Thing is, with all that, right? I think not having like a older mentor there. I mentioned it in the group chat that we were in, Carl. You look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's got Mike Phelan there to bounce his ideas off. I guarantee Alex Ferguson isn't more than a phone call away. He would have been instrumental in Ole coming in. You look at Arteta, built into Arsenal. He's worked with, Pep Guardiola for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Pep's always going to pick up the phone for him. He's got Edu there, and there's people there who they can lean off. I think Klopp's an elite manager, and so is Pep. But below that, I don't think there's any elite managers in the league. I don't think Jose Mourinho falls into that anymore because when was the last time he won the league? 2013 with Chelsea?
2015, yeah.
2015, yeah. So, you can't really... There's two great managers in the league right now, I'd say, and that's Klopp and Guardiola. So,
yeah. I agree with that.
Maybe he was harshly treated, but I think he lived by his sword, he died by his sword in a way. And there's always going out like he'd phoned Timo Werner to convince him to come to Chelsea, and he spoke to Havertz on the phone, supposedly. So to say they weren't his signings, I think it's a bit unfair on him as well, because I think his best signing was Thiago Silva. I think he's been brilliant. He's been brilliant, and I think Tuchel coming in, I remember him getting sacked, and I thought, right, someone's going to pounce here. Someone's got to pounce here. Is it going to be United? Is it going to be Arsenal? Is it going to be Chelsea? Because, Ollie's went through a couple of sticky patches over the last 2 years that he's been in charge. And, he's been given the time and been given the money to improve. And you only look at the last calendar year since, United brought in Bruno. You have to look at, the stats. I know people say, oh, he's a penalty hogger and all that, but if people actually go and look at the proper stats of United play, it's incredible. And I think Arteta is getting there. Arteta's got rid of, some proper senior men in that team. Getting rid of Ozil, Mustafi, Socrates. Getting rid of players like that's huge, and you've got to give managers time. And I've been brought up with that managers getting time. I mean, you go back to even before I was born. The guy with the bed sheet saying Tara Fergie. You know what I mean?
Again, you could say that's down to size of clubs as well, because
it's true.
Maybe Livy.
Yeah, exactly. I think Junior gave managers chances.
In recent times, I mean, in recent times, definitely. If you look back at the Maximo days, and he lasted 3 games or something like that. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that was again.
Even just look at, go back to when it was, what was it? Harry Proctor was in charge. Richard Gough was in charge.
2004-05.
I said 3 managers that year. Paul Lambert started off that season.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I remember that. But I think managers just need to be given a chance. I mean, I'm the biggest joker at Lampard I have been, but I just think I'm just a great believer in just giving managers chances. You've got to give. How are we going to get young managers into the game?
It's always a huge question. Yeah.
I look it up here. Right, the biggest job in Scottish football, right, a couple of years ago was that Rangers job. Right, he came in after Brendan Rodgers winning. They just won 3 trebles in a row, and Rangers have kept backing him. I know it's you've got to be in the right place at the right time, and the Celtic follow, but this Celtic follow wouldn't look as bad if Rangers weren't there to, they're unbeaten this season. They're unbeaten in the league this season. I think they lost what? They lost in the Betfred Cup.
Yeah, it's some game that, by the way.
Oh yeah.
They're still in Scottish, are they not?
Yeah. In the league, they drew with us and finished on with us. That's when they went on the rampage, and they hadn't lost a game until.
So the draw against Hamilton.
Yeah. Hamilton.
So recent draw against Hamilton.
I just managers do the time up. Hate to say it.
They do.
I've said Jack was out for the last 3-4 months, and you know what? Clubs gave him time. He's turning it round for a record points.
Exactly.
Sticking with like sort of the Premiership, still someone's ball from Greece. Liverpool's, ball from, the injuries, and they've just been absolutely embarrassed by Manchester City thanks to, horrific defending and Alisson's blunders. And I think it's been I think because of Liverpool are the fancy thing right now. They're the shiny thing. You know, Klopp's the media and all that, and he's not. I think, you know, if that's Lampard, if that's Arteta, if it's Ollie, you know, they're going nuts. But because Klopp's won the league, which is an unbelievable achievement. He won the Champions League the year before. I think it's 3 back-to-back European finals, if I'm right. I think League, Champions League, then eventually in the Champions League. So there's a manager getting given time, and he's got to be given. I mean, if you see the nonsense on Twitter, people saying Klopp out, that's absolute nonsense. I mean, I'm a Man United fan. I'd love him to go because they'd fall apart without him there. But to be honest, I want if you were to go on and win the league, I'd want them to be there for the fight. You want to beat teams when they're at their best.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great the other year that it was Liverpool and City just, you know, you win this week, we win this week, you win this week, you know, and City won. I think it was only 4 points in the league. So, I just think there's been a drop off the last year. I mean, I've kept my sort of little beady eyes on it because I've been kind of waiting for it. I kept saying they're going to fall off. I've been consistent in saying that there's going to be a fall off. The system, it fell off at Mainz. Dortmund, it went seriously bad with injuries, and it's happening at Liverpool now. I mean, but I think the fall off was before the Van Dijk injury because they got hammered by Villa. Do you think that? Do you think that deep, or do you think they can come again?
I think it's going to be tough. It's kind of like an end of life cycle, and this is what is happening. Klopp was like that at Dortmund, and they, got so many years, and he got to 2014, 15. You could tell that was the end of the life cycle that he was there at Dortmund. I think this is similar in ways for Liverpool, that how he had to build a team from when he first came, the first game against Tottenham in 2015-16 season, and he's had most of that squad has a huge overall player players that stayed there from the start, or has been Jordan Henderson and Jordan Henderson mostly. And to be quite honest with you, it has been coming for us because Man City were in this situation when they won the Premier League the first time in 2012. They fallen off a bit, and then they won it the next season after, and then they fallen off again, another season, and then the last 2 seasons before Liverpool won, they won back-to-back titles for the first time for a long time for them as a club. So I feel like at the moment, the Liverpool is at the end of the life cycle. Some players will probably be leaving in the summer. I think it's going to be a bit of a rebuild in Liverpool coming this summer. I think the midfield needs to be done with Gini Wijnaldum. He will go to Barcelona. There's no doubt about that one. I just feel like Liverpool do
that deal.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. See with that deal, Coleman's not seen out his time at Barcelona, so where's he going? Because that's a Coleman signing. Sorry, I've butchered his name.
You're right.
If their presidential thing goes to, he's going for Xavi.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Barcelona. Bit of a similar situation. Well, it's sort of similar. They're right at the end of a cycle now. I mean, Messi's got 34, 35. They want to keep it. Is he on 33?
He's only 33. Yeah.
But the thing is, I think you could put him into midfield.
I think that
would be unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that will happen coming time. And I think with the presidential election, I think Juan Laporta, who was the president of Barcelona, with that great success under Pep, I feel like he's going to win it again, and I think he will get Xavi back. I know Xavi signed a new contract for a year extension in Qatar, but I do feel that he will come back, and I think Paul will agree with that. Yeah. Ronaldo will not be signing for Xavi if he comes back, no doubt about it. I don't think it will ever happen with that one.
Yeah. When you go, Paul.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out what to actually mention what's not been mentioned already. Jurgen Klopp, first title for Liverpool since the inauguration of the Premier League. What he's done at that club in the past few years has been nothing short of sensational. But yeah, I agree, Carl. However, to just be that devil's advocate, what I will say is, I've done it before last season. Why couldn't they do it again this year? Why can't they? However, what I will say on recent games, it's Man City's to lose. The way they're playing, Phil Foden, by the way, as a member of the Tartan Army last year, and then of course when we qualified this year, we're thinking I'm not afraid of England at all. Nothing to fear. However,
I'm shiting myself.
I'm
shiting myself.
Like, who are you watching? But if he plays like that, for example, against Scotland, we will be torn apart. He is frightening.
We've got an Englishman in the house, so
yeah.
Absolutely. I think with Foden playing for false nine, I think it was the right tactic for Pep. And I think it's going to be huge for him this summer for England, because this is what I will say. I think Foden can be one of those key players. And I think, the last few games he got disciplined because of the break of the Dubai bubble with the Nations League a few months ago.
Yeah.
But I think he's come to shine. And there was, I think that game against Liverpool was his coming of age, to quite honestly, because there has been talk about him big, huge this season of, the next David Silva. And it took a bit of time until Sunday how he, really played well, so hopefully we'll keep that going and keep that form going for England, because we have been struggling a little bit and we do need it leading up to the Euros this summer.
Well, of course, we hope the opposite, but point I was trying to make you, Phil Foden's just one example in that side. You've got Raheem Sterling again, another Englishman on the wing, gradually coming back into his game as he was last season, the season beforehand. At the back, I can't even think who's at the back for Man City, just because there's so
Ruben Diaz has been, he's been sensational. Diaz when he joined from Benfica, I think he was always Pep's man from day one. So, just quite honestly, he's proven dividends. I think John Stones has redeemed himself as well.
Yeah.
After a poor season he had last season and the season before, he has proven himself now. And I think they've only not seen a lot of goals at the back when them two have played, actually. So it has been huge. And Jan Cancelo on the right back, he's proven the money after coming as right back since last season. So it's been huge improvement from Man City from the players at the ball, and they're really come to shine, actually. So yeah,
massively. Even the goalkeeper, I keep forgetting his name.
Edison.
There we go. Like, I don't even think he's actually had much to do except from that game Sunday, because he's back.
No,
the Stones making a return that he has, and unless of course it all seems to fall apart at some point, which, as you say, there is a life cycle kind of process. Hindsight's a beautiful thing, but Liverpool are more incapable of coming back. Man United are even in with the running. Leicester are kind of knocking the door, 7 points behind.
Yeah.
So it's all for the taking. Man City's to lose, in my opinion, though.
Same.
Yeah, they've got teams in hand and 5 points ahead.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which is
I didn't think, I've got to be honest, I didn't think United will win it. I didn't think we're consistent enough. We've not got a good enough defence. That's... Never mind Everton game. That's been, showing quite a lot. But I think problem with us is, right, we were a counter-attacking team last year, right, because we didn't have Paul Pogba for a whole year. So we didn't have a player to take the ball out from, take the ball off Maguire or take the ball off Lindelof. It was just, bring a team onto us and we'll counter-attack there. Greenwood, Rashford, Martial, and Bruno just in behind them. I think the problem is we're trying to be a possession team.
Yeah.
We're trying to be a possession team. We always sort of changed it around. And
absolutely.
The thing is, we're not good in transition. Our fullbacks aren't good enough in transition. As much as Luke Shaw's been great. Right.
Andrew,
I'm not
to be honest with you, yeah, Andrew, do you think because you're not even bought a defender in the January transfer window, does that really think you should have made an improvement just to try to get closer to Man City this season? Was that the one jigsaw that has been missing?
The thing is, right, last year we were the best defence in Europe. Statistically, the best defence in Europe. I know we were, fall off at the end there, but what team nearly didn't fall off at the end of the last season? Because of the 3-month break for the virus and then coming back and people, players having corona. So, no, I think if I'm being picky about United, I want a right winger, whether that be Sancho or another player. We've not had a right winger since Valencia got moved to right back in 2013. We've been playing Lingard out. We played Lingard out there. Lingard's a number 10. We played Matt out there. Another player that should be playing number 8 or number 10. And Greenwood ain't a winger. Greenwood ain't a winger in a month of Sundays. Because he's not got that. It's not that he's not a great player, because I think he's the best finisher at Man United. But he's not a winger. He's there to fill a void. But he's always going to cut inside and shoot.
Yeah.
But like Rashford on the other side, I think they're more inside forward than being wingers. I mean, I'll be surprised if we're within 10 points of City this season, and that's not a knock at Ollie at all. Somebody said to me in the summer, "What do you want?" I went, "Progression. I'd want to finish second. We finished third last year. I'd want to finish second, and then build again." Because we're going to need to go and buy somebody like Meccano to go for it, really. If there's a defender on it, I'd want him. Which is mental, because Rashford destroyed him in November there, when he came on and scored the hat-trick, but you still seen a bit of class about him.
Yeah.
But no, I think, Liverpool's fall-off has been massive. But I think the way the English press have reported it, it's cool they're taking a year off. They're basically taking a year off, aren't they?
It sounds like it is, yeah. It's another Man City.
But see, that's what's worrying for me, because thinking about it now, right? United are the second or third richest club in the world, run by a bunch of cunts.
Which the NFL team just won the Super Bowl as well. Where I'm surprised that.
Listen,
yeah.
Do you want to know something? Right? They signed fucking Tom Brady, man. But come on, he's got more Super Bowls than any other team. Never mind. The thing is, I was watching a podcast last night, and it's actually all under the same business, Red something Limited. So there's no reason they couldn't do it, but they're cash cow. They've took more money out of the club than put them into it. And if you look back under, this tells you how much a good a boss Fergie was. He had a negative spend under the Glazers.
Fucking hell.
A negative spend, right? We won 3 back-to-back Premier Leagues, won a European Cup under that regime. Then we won another 3 separate to that.
Yeah.
So that's not you look at those teams after the Ronaldo, Rooney, Tevez, Berbatov era. Go and pick me a world-class player after the likes of Ronaldo left. Van Persie for that 18 months.
Yep.
And I know people will say, "Oh, you spent 200 million." Yeah, for the TV money, would be the top 4-6 clubs got like $1 billion each. And sorry, how can you not make money being Man United?
Yeah,
it's true.
Some companies phoning you.
I think the term, to sum it up in one word, is branding.
Exactly.
United's a brand.
Oh yeah.
I mean, here's a random statement here, but I can't remember what film it is. I want to say it's Eurotrip, that Vinnie Jones plays like the Cockney Reds.
That's the one, yeah.
You know,
Eurotrip, yeah.
American comedy, which isn't even football related. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and there's another one, Roy Keane.
What one, mate?
Comedy casual film. Roy Keane's in one of the comedy casual films.
Was that the Hooligan Factory or something?
That's it, the Hooligan Factory.
I've seen that.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm going to be honest. See, the best thing about the English football now is Micah Richards and Roy Keane.
Well, and on
Sky Sports.
Aye.
It's unbelievable.
I keep forgetting he does more, doesn't he?
Oh, Burnley in the FA Cup.
Yeah,
We beat off Bournemouth.
Mm-hmm.
I just popped up on my phone now. So I've got this sort of split screen.
Wow, Bournemouth, yeah.
I said it wouldn't work for Jason Tyndall.
I know. I remember you saying that to me. I remember you said that last summer. I remember you saying that. I know. I remember it quite well. And I popped it. I was thinking about you last week for. Yeah, I know. It's not surprising.
The man's right. The man's right about some things.
Listen, you're right about it. I agree with you. I also fancy Edwards about this one. What we're going to
thing is, right, I have a thesis behind this, right? See if you get relegated under a charge, like of Eddie Howe, right, and he decides it's time to go, right? Clear house.
I know.
Clear the house, right? There's no reason you can't stick with the same football philosophies, right? Because you can go and put a David Wagner in there, who's supposed to be interested in the job just now. And you'll see a lot of it. Carl. They play incredible football.
Oh, absolutely! It was huge for the. I grew up in Huddersfield, and it was huge for the club because, like I said, the club they have no ambitions. They were floating between Championship and League One. Yeah, they were floating between Championship and League One. He comes in and he made a huge difference because the club, like I said, they didn't have ambition because they didn't think they were going to be in the Premier League. That's true because I knew the previous owner, Dean Hoyle, and I met him a few times during my time when I was at Tynecastle because we were the main sponsors. And yeah, he changed a lot. And I think it was unfair for him. It was shame for him that it didn't work out at Schalke for him. But I think going to Bournemouth, if he does get it, will be the right thing. And like I said, Jason Taylor was there for 20 years. And that should have been a clearer. And you're right, Andrew. When Eddie Howe left, it felt clear, including Tinder, who's been one of the longest serving members at the club, along with Eddie Howe. You have to clear house, and you're right, And I know Geoffrey Woodgate is in interim manager, caretaker manager for now. But I think right at the moment, Harry Redknapp is part of the selection committee at Bournemouth, and I feel like Wagner will definitely get the job. I can't see anyone else, really can't.
Yeah. I mean, the only club it's really worked at, right, is Paul's club, Livingston. I think you're going to come on to that, Paul, so I'll let you take over.
Okay. Where do I start? That's literally an episode in itself. But,
fine.
Yeah. 2014-15. Really the beginning of it all.
Rise and rise of Livingston, eh?
Yeah, Challenge Cup winner.
Yeah.
Stayed up. Following season, got relegated. And then it was, as the song goes, back-to-back promotions, which it was, and we're still here. So the trials and tribulations, from getting Kenny Miller on board as a player manager to lasting 3 games in the League Cup, scoring 1 goal at home to.
I remember that.
Sorry?
I remember you being firm, being in charge, being a big advocate, innit?
Nah, maybe play, but I wasn't there for a manager, no. But no, he scored. I want to say it was Annan at home, but we couldn't play at Livingston because of the infamous, we'll call it, plastic pitch been put in, and of course it was behind schedule, so we had to play it in Lithgow's, not Creamery Park, that's Bathgate. Lithgow Rosie's ground, but I can't remember the name of it. Beautiful sunny day. You know, it was written in the stars. It was going to be a great day out. Got the bus from the centre. In fact, no, I didn't actually. I'm talking a lot of nonsense. I got a lift through with Ross Coots, a guy who's obviously been recently on your podcast. One of my good friends through Livingston and the music scene in West Lothian. I had a good wee drive through, good listening to tunes. I helped myself to a couple of cans when he drove us through, of course. Parked up the car and we went into, name escapes me, but it's a big, big pub. And I got a burger and it must have been like a good 2 quarter pounders. All the trimmings, tomato probably about the size of my head, lettuce, all the trimmings you can imagine. And I'm pretty sure I spent like a tenner on this. I was stuffed the rest of the day. I had to walk from there to the ground. And I don't know if you know Lithgow very well, but it's quite hilly and quite, it's old fashioned. But I literally waddled there and I was drinking Best as well, probably the worst beers I drank on that day. It was roasting hot, shots were on, I was stuffed, steaming, living life. But on that beautiful day, I witnessed forward play of a world-class player. And in italics, of course, world-class slashed, right? Kenny Miller finishing at the keeper's left-hand side. Taking one touch, putting it in the corner. If I remember rightly, it finished 3-0, I think. But that is probably the highlight of his career at Livingston. And that kind of it proved everybody's kind of thoughts behind it. Bringing him in to start that journey, nah, just no. Especially coming off the back of Davy Hopkins, like getting his promotion. Yeah, absolute hero of a guy. Unfortunately, not working out for him at all. Going to Morton and then something. Has he been sacked? Has he been sacked from Morton? Is he still there? I can't remember.
I think he was sacked from what I recall. Yeah,
it wasn't a sack. Give me a second.
No, he left. Mutual consent, wasn't it? Mutual consent because he's.
I've got a bit of story behind that. He was playing. I think he was paying players at his pocket.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
So yeah, it went a bit. But I'm not very structured here, but there's so many things coming into my mind. I know we're going to go into like the favourite games we've ever witnessed, either watching telly or in person, but that day out is nowhere near the best games I've witnessed. It's just a story to tell, right? But
away.
Again, that could be an episode in itself. Just from the 9 o'clock train from Edinburgh Waverley down to Berwick to coming back via an ambulance to the train station and then get the train up the road again.
What?
Callum wasn't even present, mate. Callum wasn't even there. That's another game for itself. That was Dumfries, aye. I'll make it quick, but basically we went down to Berwick. It was a Challenge Cup game, if I believe so. We got beat 3-2 in the last minute of extra time. And it was kind of an annual summer trip for some of the boys. Everybody used to go down to Berwick because technically it's English drinking laws. It's a weekend away kind of thing. And it just so happened that we were drawn against Berwick in the cup. So the stars aligned and we all went down. And got something like 8:45 or 9 o'clock train from Waverley. But of course, got the 8 o'clock train from Livingston through, grabbed breakfast. Norton's the coffee place in Waverley. We can all packed in black and yellow, bottles. We'll say water for the recording. Buckfast and empty. 8:45 in the morning.
I told you this is going to be politically correct.
Yeah, of course.
Smashed on the council toilet.
Yeah, I mean, the start of the issues of that morning was I went to a friendly ScotRail member of staff there and I says, what train's heading down to Berwick today? Very, very articulately spoken. And he went, platform 9. And I was like, I done the kind of, you know, the whole meme, the guy for the hangover with the mathematical equation, stuff like that. And I was like, 9. I just got off at 9. Surely not. I was like, right, okay, I'll take his word for it. And I looked up at the screen and it was like platform 9 departing. And then it was like Berwick upon Tweed. Got across the screen, right? And I was like, right, okay, so me and a few boys, Geordie, you know, the usual kind of characters you'll be aware of, Rogers, but made our way towards platform 9, and then we kind of looked up and seen one of the other screens, and it was like 9W. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that goes back to Livingston. I'm pretty sure that's the line goes back to Livingston. There'd been a cock up. It wasn't 9W. It was 9. I can't remember what the other one is. 9W and 9
E, yeah, which means the whole platform 9. Yeah, that's what it means.
Yeah, of course, yeah. East. So we literally about 30 boys.
Go up the stairs.
Aye.
That's
30 boys running up with spar bags and all that. Ken, only the finest for Livingston's finest, right? Running up the stairs, bucky bottles spiked to the palace and fucking beers everywhere. Half empty tenants, cardboard boxes, tenants cans just totally flapping about and losing their life support machines attached to the cans of tenants to reassert the charge. Right? No, but eventually got on the train. I think it was a Virgin train, but we got on the wrong carriage. We ended up getting a first class carriage, which obviously was a no go. And the guy was like, "No, you don't get tickets. Get you know." Pop carriages, not the first class carriages, you know. But anyway, we got to and I don't know if you're aware of the kind of discount cards you get, but I had a third off. It was
I got one. I got one as well. So yeah.
Great for away days, but I'm pretty sure this was like maybe 6-7 years ago or so. In fact, maybe longer. 2013 it might have been actually. So about 8 years ago. And in fact, I think it was 10 actually. Aye, it was years ago anyway, right? And we got on the train, eventually in the right carriage, in the right seats, and there was about, I'd say, in our immediate group, like our group of like ring of friends, if you want to put it that way, there was about 19 of us in total. But there was also a lot of fans that jumped on the kind of bandwagon as well with us, and we were all in the carriage, wired. A mixture of matchday beverages and other stuff, which I'll not go into. Personally, I was not involved, just to get the disclaimer out there, right? But people are going a bit like Hoovers, man. So that was the carnage. First thing in the morning in Edinburgh. And we arrived in Berwick maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours later. So we had what you get a second breakfast. So we got a second breakfast down in Berwick in one of the hotels. And again, English drinking laws, so you get your beer with your breakfast.
I know, we know. Yeah, your drinking laws up here. I'm used to them now, but when I'm down, I'm like, yeah, I can buy any 24 hours a day. Yeah, I know.
And me being me, I got to the bar and I was like, right, can I get a full breakfast? It was a full English. I was like, pointed at the menu, standards. In a foreign country, pointing at the menu, you don't understand. Guy was like, I know what you want, mate. Link sausages, yep. Eggs, beans, mushrooms, certainly. Wee bit of tomato, nanny tomato, mate. Just the mushrooms, mate. Thanks. And they came out. I swear to God, the plate was like that, and it was like rectangle. And when you kind of expect like a kind of spoons kind of thing, right? So you expect like 2 or 3 sausages, but he says you've had a long journey, and I can see you're all getting right on it. He was quite polite and quite posh. He wasn't like kind of proper borders, kind of like chat, right?
Yeah.
Working class and really common, and none of us are lawyers, put it that way, right? And he came out and he was ready to go. He came out with these bowls. Literally, there was about 8 sausages in each plate, 2 eggs, 8 rations of bacon. Fucking, and we're like, no, we just wanted the standard breakfast. They came out with jumbo-sized ones, like for us. And he came out with like 4 loaves of bread, all toasted, like for us. It was great. But anyway, this is where the kind of carnage properly started. Basically, the sun was out, July summer's day. Everyone was getting mad with it. I had my bottle of MD and my 24 crate of Budweiser with 2 of my mates, and we're absolutely fleeing, right? Well fed, well oiled, good day, right? we went through all the different pubs and, did the big crawl. And I remember walking across the bridge that takes you technically into England, but then it takes you to Berwick Rangers Stadium.
Yeah.
And that's all I remember. But from what I've been told, it was me on one arm of Geordie, and then my other mate on his other arm. He was having heart palpitations because he'd smoked and everything else too much, I was just absolutely blazing to the point my legs stopped working. So I'm getting carried there. If I remember rightly, it was £15 for an adult ticket. Now, it was apparent we weren't getting in for a concession, right? Because I do not look like a 15-year-old. Not even when I was 15, I didn't look 15.
Yeah, right? I know what you mean. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Reeking a drink and fags, right? Absolutely mortal. And borderline not getting in. But then Geordie made the point to the ticket people and the security and the kind of no police on duty, so that was ideal. Because if there was, I would not be there. But the stewards basically says, right, you have to look after him, and he's like, yeah, of course I will do. And I'm actually older than Geordie, so Geordie became the father figure, right? Aye, but got us in the ground. He paid for our tickets, so he paid £45 of his own money, 15 for his own ticket, 15 for my other mate's ticket, 15 for my ticket. Of course, he also said to the steward, this is when he was minted, man. This when he was working for the council and that game proper, like, rolling in it. I'm joking. But we got into the stadium and I kind of get flashbacks walking around the stadium to the far end, and it was right in the spotlight of the sun. So as you can imagine, it's the height of the day, 3 o'clock kickoff, roasting hot, and it wasn't even terracing or seating. It was grass. So everybody's getting their picnic on. Yeah. Well, we've ransacked the pie stand, we've ransacked what they call us and the Fantas and that, Went back to the grass, sat down, and I got one bite of my pie, and that's all I remember. But apparently I killed. I literally just fell asleep. And just to paint a picture, Carl, right? This was a group called the DBM, Drumbeat Mafia. We had a drum. We had flares. No, not flares. We had smokies, not like fire. Yeah. There were smoke bombs going off. There was, the Vuvuzelas actually were there.
Yeah, the Vuvuzela,
yeah. A guy bought a Vuvuzela back from the World Cup in 2010. Was it 2014? When was it?
South Africa. They the only ones who got those. Yeah, South Africa.
Aye, 2014. So it must have been about
2010. It was 2010.
Aye, 2010. It must have been 2010 then, but whatever the horn was, because I remember like being totally out of it, just kind of hearing the kind of sound.
Yeah.
Just lying there. But anyway, got to half time, and the only reason I knew it was half time is because the whistle went and my mind just decided to kind of switch on. I've stood up and I've ran to the toilet. Done what I needed to do, you know what I mean? Sick everywhere. Geordie patting my back, the good guy it is. Came back out, and the best thing is the toilet's not even, locked doors or cubicles.
Oh, no.
With a trench kind of urinal.
Yeah.
And I was literally like head against the wall, peeing and being sick at the same time. So I was an absolute nick. My mate, Geordie, again, hero he is, carried me out essentially, put me back where I was like sitting before. My other mate, Robbie's, decided to be sick. He didn't even go to the toilet. He literally went to the back of the stand, the grass bit, sick everywhere, having a panic attack, trying to find his inhaler, had lost it in the grass. Oh, absolute mess of a day. But I eventually lied down and fell back asleep. Fell asleep for the whole second half. Woke up again at full time. Was sick.
As you do.
Yeah.
Rolled my face in my sick. Just for extra, fun times. Happy as a pig and sick instead of shit. Thank fuck. And then it went to extra time. And I just remember the ball hitting the net. And us them equalising and me being raging. And because I was raging, obviously, your heart goes again. And
yeah, you know that. I know, yeah.
Yeah, I was sick again. So I was fucking waiting everywhere. The steward's just looking at me, like, he's not even interested. He's like, this boy's a lost cause, man. Just not happening.
Oh my
And then
God.
the full time whistle went. Extra time kicks off. You know, if I remember rightly, there was an outstanding keeper in goal. I had no idea who he was. Can't remember for the life of me. But he put off like 3 minutes, like amazing saves, like top notch saves for what I remember. Then again, I could be talking shit. Nothing could have happened. It could have been postponed. I don't know. But
Coots, if you ever watch this, or Greg, go and tell us what happened.
but yeah, Berwick beat us, and again, I woke up at the end of the game, like the full end of game, not just the full time, but extra time.
Yeah.
And, just to make sure I was on point. I was sick again, so at this point I felt great. I woke up and I was like, cool, I'll have my pie. So I ate my pie that I bought at the start of the game, like a good half an hour before kickoff. Freezing cold, covered in sauce. Yeah, good day. But after that, my mate Robbie was still struggling with his breathing, and the paramedics had been called in.
Oh man.
So they're getting him the oxygen mask and all that and helping him out and just saying the obvious stuff you would think to be obvious. No more drink. Don't have any more cigarettes. Straight on the train home if you're able to do so. If not, we'll be taking you to a hospital at the Borders. Or I think it might have been Gateshead or somewhere in the North of England. One of the two, I can't remember. But
Gateshead is quite far. See, how are you going to get to Gateshead? You probably have to go up the Borders anyway. So yeah,
I can't remember where it was, but it was some sort of hospital. Either I say some sort. It was a hospital in the north of England or the Borders of Scotland. One of the two. And eventually we got back in the ambulance. Everything was fine. Robbie's breathing is regulated. I'd stopped being sick. I was a bit more compos mentis. I could eat. I had an appetite. And I was like, right, I'm good. Right, name me a drink. Not happening. Not at all. Can't face it. Go back in the ambulance. Got dropped off at the train station, which everybody was boarding the train. And what does Robbie do? He comes out with a fucking crate of Budweiser for the trip home.
Oh no, this is
and like
being young and smart as fuck, as you can imagine, I was like, I'll have a few beers on the train. So I did, and got back to Livy in one piece. And if I remember rightly, I still made Earth that night. In case you don't know, Earth is a infamous nightclub that used to be present in in Livingston. So yeah, it was a fun packed day. But yeah, I think I must have been about 21, something like that. But just for the record, I have been.
Was that? Oh no, that's just a way. That's just a way.
Yeah. I suppose I better go back to the kind of main part of the story we're talking about before I went off on an absolute tangent. But
you just took fucking 10 minutes to get through Berwick.
I know.
Told you, man. Fucking.
I was like, wait a minute. Yeah.
I did say I should have just called this waffling along, but then I'd get done with Joe Weller for copyright.
Yeah. But yeah, Livingston at the moment, I don't think, as a Livingston supporter, there's been a stranger time, not just with the whole COVID situation and, not being able to attend games and having to watch it on a live stream and all that. But see when we got beat by St Johnstone on Saturday, I've never felt such rage. Like, 14 games unbeaten. It was almost as if we were like envisioning we were world beaters. Just because I forgot what it was like to lose, and even David Martindale even said that in interviews. It's like we forgot how to lose, and now we've felt it. We're ready to go again. But that's the mentality of the club, and it has been thanks to the likes of John Ward, the CEO of the club, very successful businessman locally, took on the job at Livingston at the time, a very tough job. Also Gordon Ford, ironically, my previous head teacher, took over his role in the club. Done very well from a community aspect. Yeah, it's great. It's great to be a Livy fan now. David Hopkins started the journey. Kenny Miller was a speed bump that kind of put us in our place for then Davy Hopkin and, of course, Gary Holt to come through and start the journey again. And then, of course, the story of Martindale again could be an episode in itself. It's been repeated so many times. You know, he's been in prison, he's sorted his life out, he done the nitty-gritty stuff, and now he's ahead of the club from a managerial point of view, anyway. Not CEO, of course. But
John Woods about giving people chances. Like, he's just like that as a guy.
Aye, me included.
Like, you know that. Aye, well.
Again, that's another
episode. We'll just need to have you on it for the episode of your stories.
We should actually for your stories.
You're Matt Flaney.
Yeah.
You're Matt Flaney, aren't you?
It was, Carl, just to paint a picture, I went a wee social distance walk with Rogers the other day there. And Monday it was yesterday. Just yesterday. And I got the day off to go and view a property, which didn't actually happen, of course, because things happened. So I ended up going for a walk, and me and Rogers met up, had a chat, a walk, and then I was like, I knew there was a reason I got the day off, not just to view a house, but it was actually the anniversary of me being arrested. So
what?
A football game, because, well, again, that's a story for another time, but it was actually of the Scottish Cup away tie against Inverness. We're actually sadly knocked out. Close, also quite realistic to me, also being knocked out as well. Is quite close there, but far too much drink. Also getting involved in something I didn't need to get involved in. Basically, my mate was too drunk, didn't get in. I says to the steward and the steward and the head of security, what we'll do, guys, not an issue. He's had too much to drink. We'll get him some food, some drink, some water, sober him up a bit. However, it didn't come out as that. It came out as and then, of course, they clicked 1 and 1 together and 2 and 2 and all that. I meant he's steaming. You know what, boys? Get the police. And then we basically gave him the runaround. Instead of standing still and just taking the hit, we basically started an Olympic sport around the Cali Stadium to the point that the rugby tackle mate the guy. I mean, I'm laughing about it, but it's really no funny because I'm a grown man and I should fucking know better. But
yeah, exactly. I know. I'm the only one's not been arrested in my life. Jesus.
Here's the best bit. See, when I woke up in the cell, I'd fell asleep for 3 years, and they were like, "Mr. Craig, how are you?" And I was like, "All right, mate." Can I just jump back straight into action? I was totally fine. I'd sobered up and everything. I was like, "This is great." And I got a cup of tea, and I was like, "Mate, a cup of tea would be fucking lovely." Like, but see, when we eventually got out, they basically, to punish us, instead of like charging us or keeping us in for the weekend, which would have been horrendous, what they did was they punished us by letting us go at 8:20. The last train was 90 minutes past 8 to Edinburgh from Inverness, and they says, "Look, that's what we'll do. Get a hotel room, get your transport back the next day. You're not going into any other nightclubs or any pubs tonight. Go straight to your hotel. That's the end of it." I was like, "No, cool, right, cool." Now the downside was I didn't get paid until like the next again day, so it would have been the Monday. So I had nowhere to stay at this point until my mate who I was with said, "Right, you know what we'll do? I'll book a megabus." Now, this was a Sunday, of course, so the first megabus was at 7:20, somewhere in Inverness. So we're cutting about Inverness, like, we can't go to pubs, we can't go to nightclubs. I know where we'll go. We'll go to McDonald's. So we went to McDonald's, and I don't know if there's a world record attempt for it, but I'm pretty sure we smashed it. But we had won everything for the item and we're in there easily 13 hours straight. And then at 4 o'clock, they shut to clean and obviously open for the breakfast meal at 5 o'clock. So we walked about Inverness and tried to look for the bus stop that we were eventually going to get the bus. And we ended up going to this like 5-star hotel. Like, we should just seen the hotel and was like, right, we need a toilet. We'll go in for the toilet and see if they'll let us use it. And guy came to the.
What hotel did you go to?
Eh?
What hotel did you go to?
A hotel. It was next to the train station and it was swanky, like majorly swanky.
I know where you are.
And I just remember walking in, sitting at the kind of the guest bit, and a guy came over and was like, "Gentlemen, would you like a beverage?" And my mate just went, "Aye, yeah, can we get a pot of tea, please?" And I was like, "Aye, a pot of tea is probably wise, to be fair."
That's probably wise. Before you think it was
a big juicy tea was flashing at me, but nah, my mate was like, nah, we'll get tea, TEA, not tea for tenants. But yeah, had a mug of tea, went to the toilets, did what we need to do, freshen up a bit before we get the bus back. And yeah, 7:20, got the bus home, arrived in Edinburgh at, if I remember it was like 11:30. Got the train back from Edinburgh to Livingston, arrived about 12, walked in the door to my mum, as you can imagine, absolutely buzzing that I was home the next again morning with reports of me being arrested. Yeah, that's another story to tell, but that's like the shortened version, to be fair. And I got a 2-game ban for it, so I'm 100% learning my lesson, because a 2-game ban is now, as you can tell, became like a fucking 2-year ban because COVID. I was meant to return for the game where the games were stopped, Hearts at home. And this is part of their downfall, and they were in horrific form. So it was great to get back to it. We just drew with Celtic 2-2. We just beat St Mirren 2-1. And then there was us not getting into the game because nobody was going into the game because of the COVID.
I was supposed to go to that game as well because I just bought half a season ticket. It was like, oh my God. I was like, really? I only been to one game. It was with one game. It was to get, I think it was Gets Rangers, and I got a free ticket with Sky VIP. And I remember I bought a half season ticket so I could finish the season and go to the split season game. And I didn't go. I'm like, oh, I wasted £8 of this. So this is a waste of money I spent. So yeah, it was like bloody hell.
I know. So anyway, I'll stop talking shite and we'll move on to the podcast stuff we might be talking about.
Oh my God, what a waste!
Right. Every podcast I watch does this. Right. There's what we're talking about. Never mind.
Oh God.
One episode in and we're there. I'm pretty proud of this.
Exactly.
Proud to be a part of it, guys, to be fair. Even though I'm like that substitute that comes in and everybody goes, oh no. That player you bring on, you go, this is meant to be our fucking saviour.
Do you know what I'm going to put in when I put this in, right? I'm going to pin a comment like, for stories, here's the pinpoint.
For headphone users, turn it down.
If you're around parents, please put in earphones. However, I did put this out. I put this out as not being so you're all right. Again, watching this, it's our mum and dad's faults.
Oh, aye.
So we're all right there. Right, coming to the football up here, which I think to be fair, even though there's been no fans. I mean, coming into the new season as a Hibs fan. Sorry, Carl. I pissed myself laughing for about fucking 6 months at you. And you.
I know you are. And I have to take it. I took it quite well. Yeah.
You took it like an absolute trooper. So fair play to you. You got the last laugh on me after the Scottish semi. So all good.
True.
And I just went, right, Carl, you have a chance. And you were just like, no, it's right. I'll just wait. You were brilliant. I was like, but I took a whole load of, right, you know, it's a friend of mine and Paul's. Sir Liam Corbett.
Yeah.
I got sent a video on Snapchat. I've still got him on Snapchat. Good man, Corbett. And it's just him going round the Kurt Muller or something, whatever he works anyway. Just one video, I'm just laughing his head off. And I was just like, I fucking hate you. But you know what? I'll take it for you. And he was like, aye, because I'm going to be back in about 6 weeks' time or something. But gone into like the new season, we had half a squad. Well, for what I thought French half the squad. One striker, let that cunt Canberry go, and that's me calling him something nice.
Bitter much.
I know you've called him a lot worse than that. Yeah.
Hold on, have some fucking decorum, right? The cunt fucking went on loan for Hibs to Rangers, right? This is my dream move.
Done the same for Aberdeen.
I know, exactly.
Did he actually say the same for Aberdeen? Did he actually say the same?
Aye,
I think he has, yeah.
On a target of mine or something. And his agent obviously needs shot. Like, genuinely.
He's off some fucking Raiola, man. Oh, no, I hate that prick.
Or Robbie Keane. Mr. International, every club he plays for. I've always dreamed for playing for this franchise. It was when I was born.
Like, Robbie Keane, that's what's happened. He's watched Robbie Keane videos. And you're going and you see and you're going, what the fuck are we going to do? We've got Christian Doidge and Scott Allen. Really? And we've got Ryan Porteous. In my head, I'm thinking, right, last game I seen us after we were play was at Derby. I think that might have been our last game before COVID. And
it was.
I wanted to smash the gaff up. That was 3-1 going on 10-1. And I was going nuts. I was like, Jack Ross, you're a fucking fraud, you're this, you're that, you're fucking, all the players are a fucking joke. Every expletive gone. I thought, right, just need to calm down. There's no Hearts in the league this year. We'll deal with them in the semi-final, which we know. And like, started unbelievably well. And we lost Scott Allen 3 games in to whatever was going on with him. I mean, I've heard plenty of rumours what was going on with him. It's not my place to say on social media, but if the talk was true that he had problems with all that, he'd be lucky to play football again. And seeing him against Rangers a couple of weeks ago, we deserve to get beat. But see, seeing him on the field, it's just like back, and we're looking. I mean, I thought we were playing poor. If we continue on the trajectory we're going, we'll beat Neil Lennon's record. So it's mental, really. Beating Aberdeen the other day there was massive. Even though I took no notice of, even what was going on with me on Saturday. Like, get a notification on my phone, I was just like, whatever. Like, couldn't get this right now. But looking back on it, beating them's a massive bug off our shoulders to me. Because my argument's always been with Jack Ross, can he play in the big games? And I've referred it to his Craig Levein football at times. But you know what? If a team can prove something without playing the greatest brand of football and winning, it's like Livingston and that. Would you say you've got a brand of football, Paul, or is it effective football? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Football. The thing is, Livy get tarnished with that all the time. See when Livy get on the deck, you just can pop it. You all got good footballers there.
Yeah.
You can pop it a bit. Very, very. I think Hibs will finish third. I think we daft to think we can now. Was there 11 games to go? Was it?
To be honest, I've got that kind of cliche message in my mind: one game at a time. So
yeah, I think it's around about between at least 11 or 12 games for some teams. So left, yeah.
I mean, to finish the best of the rest is going to be huge this year because of the implications of Europe. Talking again Champions League. I mean, we'll go in. The third team goes in. What was it? Probably third qualifying stage, like the last qualifying stages of Europe. So, I mean, that's massive.
And there's what's that new competition they've got in as well? Is it
the Europa Conference League? Yes, that one. Yeah, which is Europa League 2. That's what it is. It is in our eyes. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's Europa 2, which is. I mean, that's still. I think that's still going to be. I'm not in agreement because it's sort of diluting European football for what's
Aye,
it
it's like they're making. It's like they're making like European football out of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know, the Champions League with the Champions League, League in Europa too. It's sort of like Premiership, FA Cup, League Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
What
I mean?
next? We'll make a cup competition for the relegation candidates. Do you know what I mean? Like surviving relegation. I know we'll bring back the total cup. There we go. Bringing that a total for surviving relegation. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, it's like don't know if you pay attention in boxing, but there's like 100 belts in boxing, and there really just should be one
belt. Yeah.
But I digress. Go into like above, you look at Celtic and Rangers. I think it'd be unfair on Gerrard and Rangers to say, "Oh, this is all because of Celtic's fall off." When you actually look at Celtic, they've only lost, what was it, 2-3 games this season, and the draws have killed them because they've not been able to score, and they've not been the Celtic old. I mean, that's not a Neil Lennon team to me. Personally, I mean, watching his previous Celtic teams and watching his Hibs teams, they didn't play Neil Lennon football. Neil Lennon football is direct and, you know, get the ball into the box.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see a team beating Rangers this year. I'm going to be honest. Hamilton had their chance, we had their chance, Livy had their chance, and to be honest, we all blew it. We all had great chances for the game, Paul. I mean, see if it wasn't for Alan McGregor, he'd be nowhere, I think.
Yeah,
true.
He's unbelievable for being 40. Was he 40?
38, 37?
38 now, yeah. He's getting, yeah.
Yeah, he's unbelievable longevity for a keeper.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be fair, I think Andy Gorham only hung up his boots at like, what, 51 technically?
Yeah.
His last club was Man United.
Yeah, it was.
His last club Man United with Fergie in 2001 or something.
It was Andy Gorham, yeah.
Yeah. At a top level, aye, but he was still playing for people like Shorts Bonnicord and stuff like that, was he not?
He's
like
still playing in junior, wasn't
he? Isn't that?
Yeah.
That's class, like.
Yeah, no, stop kicking a ball, man. I mean, there's a lot of players going in because still kicking a ball. I mean, there's part-time teams in, you know, the Championship and, you know, First Division and that. You think about, like, I know, like, players like Danny Handlin and that, he used to play for Hibs. He's got a full-time job. That was his side thing. You look at, you know, assistant coach at the first team coach or assistant coach at Peterhead. And he's got, you know, he's got open goals, he's got goal radio and whatever else he does. I think it's massive, you know. And he just says he loves kicking a ball, but he loves involved in it. It's kind of what I actually like prefer, like as much as I love going to like games and that. See, going to these wee grounds, it's amazing. You'll ken yourself, Paul. You got to the what is it? Up north.
Yeah, the Highland Leagues and the odd League. Yeah.
It's class.
Yeah.
I think Rangers are that, apart from really Chris Boyd, right? I think Rangers aren't getting enough credit. I think they're too much focusing on the negative of Celtic throwing away 10 in a row. And I think that's a problem as well, because
yeah, that was the thing though. The impetus of this season was 10 in a row.
Yeah, true.
I know. I mean,
you can
remember my tweets, Jack Ross's. You remember my tweets earlier in the season? Jack Ross has said it's got 10 in a row. If you remember my tweets earlier in the season, which I got caught a bastard a couple of weeks ago on it. I and screenshot my thing was. Like, he fucking loved it, and I was like, oh, fucking been done here. Fair play. Fair play. But don't get me wrong, I think Lennon's fucking, you may as well put a bomb into that squad. It's fell apart that much. I mean,
Tread carefully. Neil Lennon, the one bomb.
No, that one, yeah. Well,
Tread carefully. It's the year 2021, mate. People get offended with anything, so...
I know. I was just thinking of
yeah.
You know what? We just saying.
Right. I know what happened in, what was it, 2011? 2010, 2011? He got the bullets sent to him.
Yeah, we drove around that time, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the only way I could use what I mean. And folklore what I mean. He's just absolutely destroyed that squad. I mean, looking at Tierney, right, I think that was absolutely huge. Right, I think he was part of keeping that together. I mean, they're a shell of a squad. I mean, anyone can go and take points off them. You should have beaten twice in the last, 6 weeks?
Yeah.
2 draws.
100%.
Should beat them both times.
I mean, that game at Celtic Park, it drew 0-0.
Robinson should have scored, man.
Yes. That chance he had where he hit it long range on his right foot, instead of doing that, he's played through Mullen. So I think if he plays through Mullen, right foot at that angle, he's putting that bottom corner.
Oh,
but as it is, Johnny, we'll move on. Take the points on. But we're not getting relegated, which is always the aim every season for Livingston. Another thing, of course, we'll touch on eventually. But,
who James gone down?
I hate getting asked that every year because everybody, I think I can guess yours before yeah, everybody says that and they never go down.
I said at the start of the season it's going to be Dundee United. I still think it's going to be Dundee United.
I will be surprised as well, actually, with that one. I think Hamilton's 2 games in hand, which is surprising because the games that they've not played. And yeah, so don't be surprised because Hamilton can do it again, like like they did last season. And even though the season got suspended and they did stay up, they were right to stay up anyway. So they're going to do it again anyway. So, but Dundee, you're right. Dundee, there's nothing with Dundee United. I have to be. But secretly,
I just think there's been no recruitment there. And that club, that team, I mean, Hibs gave them a down at Easter Road, but they come up, they're going to be, with a couple of players, they're going to be a challenge. And I think Robbie going back to Hearts, I think that's a massive. Those teams players, you knew what to do with Shankland. And Shankland scored 4 goals this season. And we signed Kevin, right? Yeah. In the same league last year, he scored 12 goals this season.
3 of which were a hat trick against Livingston at the start of the season.
Oh no, mate. I relished actually winning at Armaville for once.
Well, horrendous.
That's where it got. That was. See, with Hughes, right? I think it just got stale with Gary Holt. I think that was the problem. It got stale. You know what I mean? He got fucked about with strikers. Stokesy didn't work out. Bringing in Jet when he wasn't fully fit. And didn't really have a proper striker. He wasn't playing Scott Robinson up front.
Mm-hmm. Just on the subject with Jet, what I think the issue was with J. Emmanuel Thomas was he came into Scotland and he obviously thought that every player that comes from England thinks is they're going to walk it and it's going to be a breeze.
It's true. It is a true thing. I don't know why some of the English players have that mentality when we go to easy. It's not as simple as that. I think Chris Sutton took a bit of time and look how his career at Celtic did. So it's not always going to be easy, right? From the English player come over thinking, oh, we'll be fine. It doesn't work like that. I think it's the same with the other way around with Scottish players going down to England. Look at Dykes, how he's doing at QPR. He's, tremendously well. So you do see sometimes it don't work. Yeah, exactly. So
Dykes ain't doing that well, but he's in a
statistically he's not doing well, but in a QPR side he's doing well.
Yeah, in QPR side he's doing well. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But he's not a goal scorer. He just got lucky up here. Well,
no, he's a workhorse. He's one of those players. But you look at other players down there, you look at Armstrong, you look at McGinn, McTominay down there. I know he's been at United since he was sort of 9-year-old, but you look at the players down there, who's really flopped? Stephen Fletcher, you go back to him, Gary Caldwell, and Barry Robson done well in there.
Barry Ferguson when he went down to Rovers, Blackburn Rovers.
And captain them. And that was a hell of a Blackburn Rovers team.
Two guys and all that.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz.
Albeit in his later stages of career, but he's still fantastic.
True, yeah.
Oh, mate, Ferguson was a brilliant player. Anyone who kind of sees difference, I think. And then he comes back up to Rangers, wins another, was it 3 titles? 2-3 titles.
Something like that,
does that.
Watersmith, Scotland, Alan McGregor,
does that. Goes down to Birmingham and wins the League Cup and plays half the game with a broken rib. All our boys have went down there and played well, I think. I remember we signed Josh Vella, who rated highly. I seen him at Bolton, I thought, that's a player. And then they work out. Bodge wasn't working out. Joe Newell, who I'm happy to be proved wrong on, he struggled. James, who we signed from Yeovil, I think it was. He's away back down south. He's at Salford City now. On loan.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of players that come up here and do well. Clearly Jet just needed time, a bit like I compare him a bit like Doidge. They work for players, don't they?
Yeah.
That's the thing with Jet though. You're definitely right in the fitness aspect. He hadn't played competitive football in 2 years. In fact, two academic calendar years. The only run out he had was for his brother's football team, which was an amateur team. No offense to the brother, of course, but for a professional standard, Premier League, Premiership standard, technically yes. Fitness-wise, definitely not. And of course, I think he's realised that how physical the Scottish game is. You don't get a second on the ball. That's what he's expecting.
Absolutely.
He's now playing on a wing, which flourished.
Yeah.
It's hard to play football up here. And look at one thing I think is a bit bang order. Derek McInnes is Aberdeen fans are voting him.
The entitled. Aberdeen and Dundee United go from, and in some occasions the two Edinburgh. But
we are entitled bastards. Trust me. Listen, Hibs fans want football Hibs way, passing him. But you look into him outside Mowbray, right, and Alan Stubbs. I think anyone's really played the Hibs way. Kill me for it or no, but we've underachieved more than we've achieved. You know what I mean? We've been relegated. People say you want to see the Hibs way, and you appoint somebody like Terry Butcher, and you're happy with it. You know what I mean? Terry Butcher doesn't play football. What's on there? That's like the same thing. Those and other opinions. Hearts as well. I mean, Carl, you've seen the reaction Robbie going back.
Yeah, absolutely. It was more negative than positive in more ways with that one because I think because like I said, the damage was done with Hearts last season when with Levine, resigning and getting Stendhal in, and that didn't work out. He's and then some of the players. Yeah, sacked himself. Yeah, exactly. And then the only condition was regionally Hearts will sort of go back into fan ownership, and that never happened. So that's been delayed for another year till the end of this year. I don't know when. But when Nielsen came back, the water negativity, I was like, why is that? And I think the reason was negativity because he could play a bit of the boy football when he got Hearts brought the first time. And I thought to myself, thinking, you know what? If as long as Levine's gone, I think that will lift the pressure off him. He can go back to play that he should play. And to be quite honest, with Levine not being there, it's been better. Under Levine, it was just a fucking nightmare. It was like Levine was getting involved in every single team decision. I'm like, You're the director of football. Let the manager decide.
The only team he ever got right against was us. Right, and even then, that Derby record was low.
It's true.
Towards the end. I mean, I think you look at the signings Hearts have made. I think the best signing he's made was Andy Halliday.
Yeah.
He's been, from what I heard the other night there, he was brilliant against Ayr.
He was brilliant against Ayr. Yeah, he was. Yeah, absolutely. So, do you know what? I think the players who I've realised, some of the players who came out from the relegation, they've had to step up because they actually knew that they owed a lot of hats at us Jambos big time because 100%. Because like I said, the last season the transfers we got was a joke. I have to admit, and I think with Neil's going back, he's got some of the transfers right spot on his right as can, and I think keeping Naismith there was more important for us because we didn't know what was going to happen with his contract. I think he's the largest earner at.
He's on daft money, mate. He'll be on.
Yeah, he's on daft money. Exactly. So there was no way we were going to have issues, paying him off because it was going to be a little bit of issue. So I think he realised that he would have stayed there, and I think with him playing under Nielsen, it's been a lot more better. So the club is in the right direction, but it needs to stick to it long term wise. That's what needs to be done. We can't go through the same thing, having Craig Levine, who actually managed Ian Cathro. To be frankly honest with you, he came in and look how that turned. So to quite honest, there needs to be stability at Tynecastle Park completely now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's another story in itself, Ian Cathro, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
It's an external source looking in.
You want to know something, right? I've got a review of the Cathro, right? Because see when he got in there and he played his football.
Aye.
Do you remember they pumped Rangers 4-0?
Yeah, I remember the first year, when you bought, I remember it.
Pumped Rangers 4-0.
I know Kyle Lafferty and
Kyle Lafferty, Jamie Walker.
The young boy, Harry Cochrane, was it not?
Harry Cochrane, he's not.
That was under Levine.
Was that Levine?
I think Cathro brought him through, and then when Levine took charge for Cathro, that's when 5-0 against Celtic.
Yeah, it was.
Horrible, man.
4-0.
4-0, yeah. I think it was 4-0, yeah.
That was the Lafferty goal, I think, the one like on the right peg, first time. Boom, top wins.
That wasn't that game. That was the game after. That was the 1-0 the season after. Because he joined Rangers after it.
True.
That's when they signed Big Ushi. Dick
Yeah.
I've got this weird freaky memory. That was still when Brendan Rodgers was in charge of Celtic. That ended unbeaten because they just got at Easter Road the week before because they drew 2-2 with us. They were on the lot. I remember all the shots on a double, and they scored in the last minute or something. Right.
Yeah.
To finish off, boys. Right, as I said, probably the best game you've been or seen on like TV. How long you go? I'll let you go first.
It has to be 2012. It was a championship player. It was League One player final between Huddersfield and Sheffield United. I got a free ticket from my college. We left about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning from Huddersfield. Went down to Wembley about 12 o'clock, and that was a tense game. I'm not gonna lie, it was very tense because it was very tense, and we thought Sheffield United had so many chances, but when we got to the penalty shootout, my God, I was scared. But when they missed, we knew that Huddersfield was going back up. So that was the game. Probably the first time I went to Wembley, the new Wembley, actually, in my life. So
yeah. I'll let you go, Paul. I'll go last because I've got 2. I can't separate these 2, so.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Is that everything, Carl? Because
that's everything for me. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Right. Since you've went with one that's not Hearts related, I'll go with one that's not Livingston related. as Rogers kind of briefly touched on, I go every now and then up to the Highland Leagues, and then on several occasions we'll go to Lowland League. Well, on this occasion, I've been to this derby now 3 times for a call, a Tuesday night and 2 Saturdays, and it's the Banff derby, and it's between Buckie Thistle and Devonville, and we kind of go in with the Devonville supporters. One of my friends, David, who's a Livingston supporter too. He's a Devonville fan. It's his club for the Highland League. One Saturday, went up. I was so rough. I was ill, so I was kind of borderline. Should not have been there, but ended up going up. It was quite overcast, really clammy day, not a lot of air, and it was a nothing game. Buckie Thistle were pretty much, top of kind of not top of the table, but they were thereabouts, second, third, good position. Whereas Devondale were kind of languishing, second bottom, third bottom, thereabout. However, it's a derby in the town in Buckie. It was an away game. Tension was, you could feel it in the air. There was, I wouldn't say there was brawls, but there was, close to it. The game was no different. Literally, I don't know how nobody was sent off, but there was elbows getting flung, there was slide punches, 2-footed challenges, proper old-fashioned football in the stands, and it's all standing as well. There's barely any seating.
Terracing, or is it like?
It is, but you could barely even call it terracing. It's like ancient ruins. But anyway, yeah, literal cowsheds. It's an Aberdeenshire.
Yeah.
But yeah, East Stand at Hibs, sort of.
Nah, the East Stand at Hibs looked like a 5-star hotel in comparison to this. But anyway, basically, great experience. The day was great, even though I was ill as fuck. The footballing show, Buckie Thistle went 2-0 up. Standards, it was going to be looking to be quite a boring first half, which it was. 2-0 down. Devonville lot were kind of just like, right, we'll go to the pie stand and they'll have a swig of their Sly bottle of vodka that they've got down the side, and good stuff you can't do in the Premier League. And they came out for the second half. They got a lucky corner, if I remember rightly. I felt it wasn't a corner; it was a goal kick. However, short corner was played. Ball was played in the box. Everybody missed it. It landed in the net. Game back on 2-1 Buckie Thistle. Game starting again. Devonville were nowhere to be seen. Buckie were all over them. The keeper was making outstanding saves. Defensive clearances off the line, proper engaging stuff. And eventually they got another corner, came out, it was cleared, rocketed back in with their centre half, and the typical northern wind catches it. Now we're behind the goal at this point, and you can see it, it's like over here, and it ends up here, right?
It's some games we would still like that, yeah.
Yeah, and it landed bang centre of the net. The keeper's like next to the post. He's scrambling, thinking it's gone top bins. Lands in the net. 2-2. Absolute raptures. All the boys are like kind of limbs. Even I'm celebrating. I don't even support the team. Do you know what I mean? Livingston through. We don't have another team that I take to. Anyway, last few minutes of the game. It's 2-2. It looks like it's going to a deadlock. And the rain starts. It's like 88th minute, 89. So we'll get to the pub, no worries, just down the hill. Start to walk, and the whistle blows, and we look up, and it's a free kick on the edge of the box, in shooting range, probably about 18 yards out, on the line of the box, and he drills it, and it hits off a bobble on the ground, hits the wall, drops to an absolute stramash and a half in the box around the penalty area. Literally about 6 attempts on goal. On about the 7th or 8th attempt on goal, he strikes it, hits the crossbar, comes down, hits off his own player's shin and rolls in the net. I swear to God, I was on the pitch. Everybody was on the pitch. The dogs are on the pitch. Oh, absolute raptures. But for a long story short, it epitomises what football is all about. Community spirit, having a good day with the lads. Just, aye. That was probably one of the best games I've been at away from Livingston. If I was to say Livingston in terms of performance, I would say Wraith Rovers away 2000 and 14, I think. I think it was anyway. But we won 4-0 or 5-0, I think it was. And it was just a great day, outstanding day. But as you're on a rush, Rogers, I will let you shoot off because I can go on for days about that.
Wraith away is unbelievable, to be fair.
Aye.
The pub crawling, that's just unbelievable, man. The minute you get out of the station,
Aye.
the walk down the hill and you just make your way all the way around there. It's a class day out.
I mean, the pub I went to, or we go to, when we go to Wraith, I don't know if I think I've told you this before, Rogers, but there's a fortune tellers next door that does toasties.
I know where you are.
Wow, really?
And you get a free toastie if you get a palm reading. So as you can imagine, I've had a lot of palm readings.
They
literally, oh mate, there's a wee bit of delay there. Let's hear what you said there. We'll just move on for that, right?
Oh my god!
I knew this was going to descend into just absolute chaos.
Oh good, man, oh good. So is this guy Craig sacked and I've got the job? Joking.
You never know.
What?
But nah, Wraith away is unreal. Love that stadium.
Definitely.
That'd probably be outside my top two. Wraith away, Scotland, man. Especially that day that started the Scottish Cup run. But the first game I'd talk about is probably the 5-5 Rangers. It's legendary now. Defence is not on show.
I remember watching that game. I'm like, what? Is that what's going on here?
What, like?
Yeah. We blew getting second or something, getting beat off Hearts midweek. Your first Hearts game, Carl.
It was actually my first Hearts game, yeah.
So it was April or May. Somebody's birthday anyway, the day before. I can't remember if it was my sister's or my cousin's. No, my cousin's 18th. So I went with Lewis. Got a ticket last minute. I was like, right, I'll meet you in town because I was staying at my dad's. Right, so early train through. And I'm like, you ever been to the pub and that before the game? He said, oh no, yours is just going. I was like, right, come on. Come to the phone, right, my cousin's like totally doesn't drink or that, just know his thing. Kind of had a couple of pints of tenants and Paul, you came what it's like in there. It's raucous on match day.
Ironically, I went to a Hibs Rangers game with Andy as well in that pub and all. So.
This is weird.
That was a good day. And I knew my cousin. It's not my cousin's thing in the pub, and I'm like, right, that's cool, man. No problem. I just got a couple of pints before the football go through. Go round and that, and I've got a plaque holding that. I turned around and I seen Kenny Miller and Lee Wallace, so they'd been punted by Graham Murray, along with I think Andy Hardy.
That was a fair few of them, like.
So I was just turning around, like, what are you doing here? Because they never had the Rangers suits on that one. So I'm guessing maybe, Scotty Allen or something's got them into the exec suites or something at Hibs. Because he was at Hibs at the time, so can get round. And I'm like, my cousin was like, where are we sitting? Because he gave me a ticket. Wee concession, by the way. Wee concession ticket. So buzzing, get in. So I was like, just go upstairs, what you want, and I'll get you whatever. So got pie, juice, got him juice. I'm in the queue. There's couplers in the queue and that, right? And always, like, 2 minutes. Sort of just look back up at the screen, Canberry. Like, not penalty already, can it be? 1-0, and I'm like, I missed a goal. Like, 2 minutes in. So, get myself in. 2-0, 3-0, right? We need to get a fourth because they'll score. And then they came back, got 3-3, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? He needs to get them in that chair. He needs to go fucking ape shit, right? Just wasn't happening. Rangers went 5-3 up. People might forget that.
I remember it, yeah.
Canberra scored the first one, Scott Allen got the second, and McLaren scored the third. So,
Aye. Yeah.
fucking hell, man. We're actually going to finish fourth here. And you find out Celtic will be beat off Aberdeen, eh? So Rangers can't finish. And Rangers can, if we get this, we fucking second. If we come back and draw, it's like, Ken, what? Never mind fucking Aberdeen. Let's do them. And I'm screaming, take McLaren off. He's fucking right?
Hindsight's a beautiful thing.
All goes in. All goes in. Who scores the fourth? Fucking Jamie McLaren. I'm like, I'm just done like.
Were you asking to take? Were you asking you to take? Yeah, you shouted, "My God!"
He just kind of looked at me like, "You're fucking wrong." Yeah. And then Brandon Barker was down left hand side, and he sort of dribbled the ball, and I was like, McLaren at the back post. McLaren's nodded it in for 5-5, and I'm like, how the 10 goals? 10! 10 goals in a fucking game. This isn't pre-season. And obviously Lenny taking pelters off
and it just was
the sticky buns. Might be the greatest line ever on Hibs TV, ever said. Lenny does his...
Yeah, they're playing, right?
They're playing, yeah, I've never seen that, yeah.
I never seen that because I think I went about 2-3 rows in front of me. You'll know yourself, Paul, that East stand, if you go 2-3 rows in front, you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
End of the game in that, and unbelievable. So what an end to a season, you know. Record points total, first year back up in the top flight. I think we were 18 points ahead of Hearts, which we hadn't done for so long, finishing so long ahead of Hearts. And what a good feeling for coming out at the end of the season, eh? You know, 5-5 and
2 seconds, please.
Towards the end of that season, we played some great stuff. I think we lost McGinn, McGill, and Scott Allen. Basically, straight after that, I thought, am I going to see a better midfield than that, footballing wise? Because some of it was unbelievable. John McGill's so underrated as a football player. Technically, man. Like, also John McGinn will always steal the headlines. And bloody rightly, the boys scored some cracking goals, and still cringe when I hear Villa singing Super John McGinn. So I'm like, no, that's our song. It's mental, like, when games are draw. Both games are actually draws. Favourite ever game I've ever been to is the Hibs Hearts Cup game in 2016, which is just past the anniversary of. Got a ticket off my dad for my birthday, and you know, if you'll see my pictures on Facebook and one of my mates double pints. How fuck's Jamie in that photo? How fucked is Jamie in that photo? So
eyes like headlights.
Get there and, oh mate, fucking we're in the Murrayfield for about 9 o'clock. Liam forgot his wallet, so George had to come back up, and we ended up getting a run through. We stopped off somewhere. George dropped us off, got a bank machine, and I think we jumped in somewhere for like a bacon roll or something, walking back up to the Murrayfield. In there and just dropped him, man, getting dark. Right, my earphones went. Songs everywhere, and again, you're walking in, you're going, oh, I've got such a bad feeling about it. As you do playing Hearts in the Cup. Get there, Hearts scored the two goals they scored, which they weren't on top. I didn't think Hearts were on top. I thought,
not at the time. No, you were killing it against us, even though we scored 2 goals. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd had a couple of chances in that, and Hearts' 2 goals are absolute bangers for Doom and Nicholson. And it was the game, Sam, there was a... don't know if you all remember, because you're not sort of in the Hibs support, but Sam Nicholson's missus had sent Snapchats to... It's meant to be for Sam Nicholson. I think they went everywhere else. So...
Whoa.
Right, we're in the Murrayfield, right, and it's, you know, group chats galore. You're like, who are they dirties, eh? She sent dirty pictures and that all over. And obviously he's getting, like, we're singing songs about his sister and that. And then he scores. So see when you see the celebration and he's grabbing his...
Oh, man.
It's a message to our fans, like, get it up, yous. Sort of thing. And you're like, fucking hell, it's got, like... You just want, oh, fuck, it's gone one of these days again. Fucking Hibs it again. Came out for the second half. I mean, McGill went off injured as well, and Kevin Thompson had to come on. David Gray went off, and Gunnarsson had to come on. So, you know, we're sort of 2 of our best players down, still playing really well. And we just kept pressing and get a goal in the last 10 minutes, anything can happen. And if anyone's seen Cummins' header that day, cheers, Jason, I bust my pretty green coat because of you. Because I'm like that as he's away to score. And I'm like, yes! And all I could feel was rip. I was just like, you know what I mean? Fucking hell. So you're thinking, right, let's get back in this. And sort of, Hearts hit the bar in between this and our second goal. Because Hearts like, we need to get a third goal. And everyone knows what happened for then, you know, got that quick free kick, got the corner, and Darren McGregor, great save for Neil Alexander in the Hearts goal, and Paul Hanlon, you know, sends us into absolute ecstasy. One thing I hate him for, right, he runs that way. Instead of running towards me, I'm already going down the stairs thinking, I'm going to grab him because I'm going to jump on the pitch. Right? Realised he's went that way. I've sort of stopped at the bottom of the aisle.
Yeah.
And I've just ended up with about 3 people on top of me. There's nothing like limbs. That's ultimate limbs. I mean, you see the videos and everyone's just, you know, getting slung about and what a day, man. What an absolute day. And sort of walking back through there, you know, people's favourite game in that run will be the Scottish Cup final, but for me it was that. Because it was just... something changed that day between Hibs and Hearts for me. I could be proved wrong, Hearts fans might think differently. But something for me changed that day. That, no, we can beat you and we can do this against you. And, you know, we'd been in a mess, you know, 2 years earlier. We'd been relegated, you know what I mean? It's still in the Championship. Hearts were on an unbelievable run that season. I think they finished second or third in the league.
Yeah.
You know, that was a bloody good Hearts team. And you think about it, you know, it's a cracking Hearts team. Walker, Patterson, you know, they've went on to do good things, players in that team. And just, you know, the return derby, Cummins scores. Just, best part about that day as well was me and Liam Byrne walked to Tynecastle all the way down Easter Road because Jamie was there with his dad. I don't know what happened with Jamie at half time. I wasn't actually sitting with him. I was sitting right next to the Hearts fans and like the kind of all their sort of ultras or whatever you call them.
Aye, the Gorgie boys, what they're called.
The Gorgie boys, whatever you call them. And my mate at the time, I remember texting him and that, and I was like, he got crushed. And June scored the second, or the first. And I'm not even raging about the goal. I've just seen like my mate at the time getting crushed. And I'm like, is he dead? Because like right down at the panel,
yeah,
you know, like right on this sort of advertising boards. Seen him on the Monday at work. Big, huge, fuck-off bruise right along there. He'd bruised his ribs and everything because all the Hearts fans right down. Kind of as you do when you take the lead against Ocelot.
Yeah.
That game was just, if I could relive any game, it'd be that, because just unbelievable, man. Absolutely unbelievable. And I never made the cup final anyway, so I can't say it's the cup final. So, aye.
Aye.
Right, boys,
Aye.
I think we've well overrun what I thought we were going to end up with.
I was actually going to ask on the back of that, what's the craziest limbs you've been involved in?
Rangers away. The night after me, you and Gary seen
Oh, you mean at 6?
Right. So I'll add this in anyway. So day before I was at the Hydro with him and my wee brother Gary. Absolutely steaming in that. Brilliant night. Great gig. I've got to go back from Glasgow to Livingston to drop my bag off and grab the boys and that back through. So drinking basically 2 days on the trot. I'm absolutely wired walking up the away end at Ibrox singing "You Let Your Club Die." I was getting told to shut up. Everyone shut up, you're going to get hit. And somebody did eventually kind of crack me one. No, that actually, fair play to him, man. Fair play. You're going into the Lions' Den when you're going into that corner. And Rangers were all over us that game. It was the first year in the Championship, and we went 1-0 up. In the first half, I think it was Scott Robertson who scored. And it was when Rangers had signed those 5 players from Newcastle.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, I know.
Curtis Good and Kevin and Babu, who's now playing for Wolfsburg or something.
Something like that, yeah.
So get to the second half and Rangers just kept piling on the pressure. We got a breakaway with Malonga, Fivey and Stevenson. And we're fucking about with it. That's just get that in the box. So Fivey sort of chipped it into Stevenson. Stevenson's volleyed it, corner of the net. Everyone knows how much we all love Lewis Stevenson, especially me, right? Pyros went off and everything in the stadium. And I think I went 4 or 5 seats, rows down, landed on somebody. Somebody's landed on top of me. My legs there, my arms are way there, my head's somewhere, and I'm just like, yes. Just unbelievable limbs, man. And you turn around and you're like, oh Christ, I've came down half the fucking stand there. Just limbs are just, there's nothing better than beating that lot there. And we had a great record up until maybe the last 18 months of going there and winning. A great record against Rangers. But obviously, we've went sort of down a bit, and you can't compete with the budget sometimes, man. Some of their players, you just think he's one of the. I mean, I can imagine, Brian Kent's probably on the same amount as the whole Hibs squad put together. That's the massive difference between the top 2 and the rest.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, it was pretty much, they were probably getting paid daft money, the Rangers team, right? And that was an awful Rangers team. No Rangers fan will disagree with that. But to beat them when we were, it was just wow, going to Ibrox and then walking in, we're going to beat them. I was like, we're going to fucking pump them. I said, we've already been here and won 3-0, 3-1. We beat them 4-0 at Christmas. And then, weird thing going to Ibrox and thinking, definitely going to do them. But I've got a weird record. I've never been beat when we went to Ibrox.
Wow, that's a good record, actually.
I've been 5 or 6 times and never been beaten. And we always seem to score a good amount. I mean, first time I was there was Ivan Sprill's hat-trick back in the day.
What game that was?
Oh, mate.
Even I was fan. Even I was entangled in it.
Mate, that was a Hibs team, by the way. And people say Scott Brown didn't have pace. Go and see him leave Dixon and Lovencrantz on their arse. And then I was at the cup game that year. And then I didn't go for a couple of years because I didn't go. Later on, I didn't go to the games because whatever reason, shit was going on. And then I went. It was John Hughes' second season. We went there and won 3-0. Liam Miller, John Rankin, I think it was Francis Deco scored. And we'd just been pumped half hearts at the weekend. And I was like, I'm going to Ibrox midweek. We're going to get pumped. No. We won 3-0. And that was a good Rangers team as well. That was under Walter Smith. And obviously, again, a couple of times I went in the Championship and that, just mental. And the last 2 times I've seen Rangers at Easter Road, we've won 1-0 and drew 5-5, so... And you were there at one of them, Paul, and we battered Rangers that day.
Jason Cummings free kick, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't even a Jason Cummings free kick. It was the playoff game in the last sort of 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, the 1-1 now. I'm sure it was Jason Cummings free kick.
Do you remember having to fucking console me after that? I couldn't even move, could I?
No.
I get too emotional with myself at football. Too emotional. But I think that's it, boys. I'll let you get back to Paul. Thanks for stepping in at last minute.
No worries. I was actually going to say, Carl, like, what about you and your limbs? Most mental.
I think I've got not as too fast. I won't say quickly. It was rehearsal stayed up the first seat because I got the last ticket in the game. I think it was against Barnsley, and for me, because we know Peterborough were going to go down, so both sides, right, say we're not going to pass them out. We just keep the ball to ourselves because we've stayed up. I mean, it's a Yorkshire thing, right? Peterborough were pissed off. I remember Adrian Dunn coming on talk, so he was pissed the fuck off. And I remember
not better than pissing off someone on TalkSport.
Yeah, so I jumped over the gate and I actually slipped. I slipped down when all the fans was winning. I jumped over the gate and tried to get over, so they slid, and I hit on the ground. And I still got up. I still run. And I remember the next 2 days, that day after, I thought, "Oh my god, I got bruised." I said, like, "Jesus Christ!" Yeah, that's the last time I got bruised at a football game. Was after when Town stayed up. All of us were trying to jump. I think one of my friends did record it one time. I think he was in the upper tier stand. I think he filmed it. I think I'd seen me there slipping. I was really frantically as well, actually. So,
see, slipping at the football. I've done a belter. Hibs against St Mirren. It was under Colin Calderwood.
Oh,
right. I told you about this. I told you about this the other night there.
Yeah.
No, last week. So we're up 1-0 in that, right? And I'm the famous 5. It's pissing down the rain. It's blowing a fucking gale. And I was like, I'm going for a piss. So I've left my mate Stuart in the stand. And it's slippy as anything. And ball's been played through and Riordan scored. And if anyone knows me, Riordan's God to me. Like, absolute everything to me. So I've fell down the stairs. So I got up, yes, and I'm right at the advertising bits. Riordan's never mind celebrating, he's came over to see if I'm alright, and I've just grabbed him yes! I must have just looked and thought, what the laddie? What the fuck's that? But the thing is, on the old Hibs website, it was actually on Hibs TV for years, me falling down the stairs like that.
Oh,
for years, man. Back in the day, Bebo.
Oh yeah.
It's on the Hibs Bebo page for years, man. Back in the day, so I know how you feel. I had to go to school the next day. And I don't know what wasn't so. My head was sore because it was freezing. Sorry guys. Dad! Oh, my washing's cool.
Oh.
Right. But I have fell flat.
Yeah.
It was a saying, but we're scored 1-2-0, so it's all good. It's all good memories. Right,
Yeah,
boys.
definitely. I was going to squeeze in there. My man, just slide in there. But I've got a few. But I'll go international. Unfortunately, the end of the game was not how we'd wished. But Lee Griffiths' 2 free kicks.
The fucking cunt.
But yeah, I was in H and I ran round to D for the equaliser. And, buzzing, wearing Timbies, a kilt, ran the 100-metre sprint, made it, cuddled and kissed everybody, usual shit. Came back to my seat, and again, Geordie's coming back into the story. And Geordie says to me, and he goes, "He's doing it again." I goes, "What do you mean?" I turned round, free kick again. Similar distance as we all know.
The wee man.
And I goes, "Nah, he's a fuck, man. Lightning doesn't strike twice, nobody else anyway." And obviously, lo and behold, it happened. Same again. As soon as my arse had hit the seat, I bounced up, jumped there the 2 rows. I must have been in like row 6. But at least 4, wearing Timbies and a kilt. Do you know what I mean? I was leathered. I'd been in Glasgow since like 10:30 that morning at pre-match parties and stuff like that. So that I ran the length of the stadium again to the same people and just fucking winched. Nah, it wasn't for a winch, it was a wee kiss, right? But absolute limbs. Like you see it on the telly. The telly doesn't do it justice. See being in it and just seeing people greeting. Obviously with such enthusiasm and love and happiness to then sitting in a stadium 45 minutes after the end. Just not being able to move. Mental.
Armstrong's a cunt.
Yes, all I had to do was fucking play it through and Griffiths on his way for the hat trick. But no, played it right to the feet.
It doesn't matter.
Walker. No, I know. You know Walker. Ox. I think it was Ox, wasn't it? Oxley Chamberlain that ended up getting the ball to play it in for Harry Kane, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, I'm ending it there because I first ran that game.
I know.
Man.
We all die, yeah. We all die.
Anyway, pleasure to meet you, Carl.
Again.
Yes, you too, Paul.
Thanks for getting me on and potentially be on in the future, maybe. And
you will.
some more stories.
You'll need an episode of your own.
Aye.
Just for football stories. Carl. Carl, thanks again, man. 2 days.
You're welcome.
Took 2 and a bit hours out of your time.
Hey, it's nothing to worry about. I'm like I said, when I'm off, I'm 24/7 when I'm off work. So yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully this will be a weekly thing. Next week, hopefully it'll be Douglas Horn that's coming on. Paul, if you're free next Tuesday, you're more than welcome to come back on.
I'll let you know.
And Carl, thanks again.
Absolutely. No, you're welcome.
Probably 7 o'clock again, so tune in and thanks again. Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.